Hello everyone, it's that teacher here, and today's lesson is going to be on multiplication, level 2. Let's start learning. Multiplication level 2. So before we start our video, I'd like to say a huge thank you. We've hit our 100 subscriber milestone. So I've been so pumped about that. I've been checking my phone, reading the comments. I love seeing all the new viewers to the channel. Thank you so much. Let's get started now. Just a quick reminder of what multiplication is. In mathematics, multiplication is one of the fundamental operations alongside addition, subtraction, division, and it entails repeatedly adding groups of equal sizes. So before we get into the lesson, here's a fun fact which actually involves multiplication. Now, fun fact about the pyramids. The whole structure of the Pyramid of Giza is estimated to weigh 5.7 million tons, with each of the 2.3 million blocks of stones in the structure weighing about 3 tons. So 3 tons times 2.3 million of the blocks equals 5.7 million. It's one of the heaviest buildings on Earth to this day. Just a cool fact which involves multiplication. So let's get moving. Now, in multiplication, knowing your times tables is fundamental. It will make the whole process so easy. Now, what I tell my students is whatever times table you are weak at, if you're great at 5s, don't practice them as much. If you're great at 2s, don't practice them as much. Now, if you're not so strong in 9s, for example, what you need to do is practice your 9 times tables. Now, you can write them out. 9 times 1 equals 9, 9 times 2 equals 18. You can also use online tools such as timestables.com. I highly recommend it. They make it fun. There's games involved. You can target exactly what times table you're struggling with and it will help you. I highly recommend also getting one of these charts, throw it in your bedroom or print out a little version for class. I've got one for all of the students in my class and it helps you with all these questions. You really need to know those times tables because it is fundamental in so many different areas of maths, not only maths, but real life as well. You go down to the fruit shop, 2 kilos of apples for $3.50, you need to know times tables so that you can budget and keep good with your money. Now, let's get on with it, but highly recommend you need to know your times table. So get the practice in, utilize the online tools. Let's get started. So now, as I've always said, lining your numbers up neatly in maths is so crucial. I say it every single lesson, just in case there's new viewers to the channel who haven't seen it. Lining up your numbers just ensures that you have one less step to worry about. Because if you have messy numbers like this, for example, you're gonna make so many mistakes. As you can see, that equals a big old mistake. The questions all muddle up, they're not in their place values. You might get a little bit confused. You might times the 3 with the 3 when it's meant to be the 5 with the 3 or something like that. Having your numbers neat and laid out like this, especially in this second step where you need to add the numbers, is so important. So keep your numbers neat. I always say this, I love opening a neat book. It's an immediate reaction. I see a neat book, oh man, great book, fantastic book. So always write it neat. I love seeing neat work in my class. Let's get on with it. Now, as you can see, we're gonna start with a little question, make it interesting with Steph Curry. Now, he's played 15 seasons and each season in the NBA has 83 games. So 83 times 15. Now, what you need to do first is 3 times 5, or start from the bottom, 5 times 3. Now 5 times 3 is 15. Now what you need to do is put the 1 in the tens column, so 15, you put the 5 below, and that 1 needs to go above the 8. Now, we need to cross time, so we're staying with the 5 and cross timesing it across to the 8. So 5 times 8 is 40, plus that 1 is 41. Now here's what I tell all my students. You need to add what I call the magic 0. And before you do that, you need to clear any working out. Can you see that I just got rid of that 1? Now, getting rid of the working out saves you from getting so many little mistakes, because if you left that 1 there, when you go through the next lot of questions, the next lot of numbers, you're gonna realize, oh, what's that 1? Was that from this question? Was that from that question? You gotta get rid of the previous working out. So just draw it lightly, rub it out. Now, as you can see, when we're up to the 1 in the 15, we've finished the 5, we're moving on to the 1. You need to add the magic 0. Without the magic 0, your answer is impossible. It is impossible to get right. It's going to be wrong. So Put the magic zero. I always say cue the Harry Potter music. Sometimes in my class I draw a little wizard's hat on it. I'm not going to do that here because it might be a bit confusing, but put the magic zero every time when it's 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. So 1 times 3 is the next number, which is 3. I also recommend a little tip. What I just did there is cross out the number so you know you've already done the 5. That's just an explicit tip if you're a little bit confused with all the numbers. But 1 times 3 is 3. Now go to the next number, 1 times 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Now what you need to do when you have both sets of numbers is add them. Now, because you've multiplied 2 different sets of numbers, if you don't add them, your answer is going to be wrong. So 5 plus 0 is 5. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. Now, if your numbers were all messy in your book, like I said in the previous slide, you're going to have a hard time in questions like this when you need to work out the answers, then add them, then find the answer. So neat numbers makes the process so easy, just like that. So I'm going to give you another example now. 83 times 48. So 8 times 3 is 24. You put the 4 below and the 2 goes above the 8. Now, 8 times 8 is 64, but we need to plus that 2. So 64 plus a 2 is 66. Now, don't forget, rub your working out. If you want to cross that 8 that you just used, you can, but I highly recommend rubbing the working out so you have a fresh slate for your next set of numbers. Now, magic zero, of course, you get to the next set of questions. If you don't add that 0, your answer is wrong. So 4 times 3 is 12. Put the 2 below and the 1 on top. Now, 4 times 8. Remember, if you're not sure, go slow. 8, 16, 24, 32. If you need to work it out like that, take it slow. Don't just try and jump to conclusions like that. Sometimes mistakes happen when you're working too quick. Take your time. If you need to count it up like that, go for it, okay? Whatever works for you in maths, that's what I tell all my students all the time. Whatever works for you, do that method. So in this case, I'm going to break it down. 8, 16, 24, 32. Now I've got 32, but I need to add that 1. So 32 plus the 1 is 33. Now don't forget, once we get these two numbers, we need to add them together. 4 plus 0 equals 4. 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 plus 3 is 9. And 3 by itself, there's no other number, so 3 plus nothing is going to be 3. So your answer there is going to be 3,984. Now, the second strategy is the area model. We're going to go through this nice and quick. Now, the area model, what you have to do is make a noughts and crosses game and put the X in the top left-hand corner. That will give you the perfect table to use the area method. Now, one of the comments in the chat said, why do you use this method? The other method is so much easier. Yes, I prefer the other method myself. However, students learn in many different ways. So it's important to expose you to all different types of learning so that you might really love this method. I know a few students in my class love this method and I see them using it on their whiteboards in their books to get the answer. So whatever works for you, that's why I'm going to show you this answer. It might not necessarily be the best way to do it or the most efficient for you, but it might be for someone. So I'm going to show you this now. Area model. So what you need to do is break the numbers into their place values. So you've got 80 and 3. So 83, 80 in the tens column, 3 in the ones or the units column. Now 48, so 40 and then 8. Now you need to times these together. 4 times 8. Now that is 3,200 or 3,200. So a little trick here is 4 times 8 is 32. If you add the zeros later, it's going to give you the answer. So if you get rid of the zeros at the start, 4 times 8 is 32, add the zeros back, you're going to get 3,200. That's an easy way to do that. Now, 40 times 3, 40, 80, 120. Now, 8 times 80, if you do the same trick I told you before, 8 times 8, which is 64, then add that zero back, 640. So that's a little tip. That's why this method is effective for some students. Now, 8 times 3 is 24. What you need to do after this is put these numbers into an addition algorithm just like this. Nice and neat in their place values so you don't make mistakes, and then just work it out. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 4, well that's going to be 4. 4 plus 2 plus 2, that's going to be 8. 2 plus 6 plus 1 is 9, and 3 plus no other numbers is going to be 3. So that is the area model, and it's an effective strategy to really break down the numbers and help students with addition. Multiplication. Now, it's your turn. I've given you a few questions here to do in your workbook. Now, if you want to do the area model, or if you have another way to do it, or just the basic standard model of multiplication, go for it, okay? Whatever's comfortable for you, that's gonna be my motto. Whatever you want to do, whatever way you can get the answer, do that way. Now, the answers are gonna be ahead. I've already shown the working out because it's a lot to go through. I wanna make the video a little bit less dense, so here are the answers. Now, I've included all the working out. I have not included the area model because it's a lot to fill up on the slide. So I've used the standard model, which is my personal favorite, the standard model of 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. And here is the working out for that. But if you've done the area model, just go to those last answer boxes. And if you've landed on the answer, you've obviously done it correctly. So that is multiplication level 2. I hope you've learned something, especially the area model. Give it a go. Even if you don't think it might not be useful, just have it in your arsenal, have it in your inventory, ready to go in case. You never know, it might be handy in the future. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching. It's That Teacher. We'll see you next time.